environmental aspects into consideration, there will be a struggle, there will be conflict, there will be many negotiations, endless amount of debates going on for decades as it's been going on. But about soil, there is no debate, there is no fight, there is no struggle. Everybody is with this, enhancing soil organic content. Is there any disagreement? There is no disagreement with anybody. Only thing is effective implementation, how do we do? For which the government has to make policies. We have, do we have the policy handbook here? So we have made policy handbook for India, but we also made policy handbooks for 193 nations, that includes India, so 192 nations, unique ones, based on the latitudinal position of the nation, soil types in that country, economic conditions of the given nation, and agricultural traditions. Why agricultural traditions is, even if you have all the science with you, you cannot change the agricultural traditions of a given nation overnight. You have to work with it. So based on this, we made 193 soil policies, which we have presented at COP15, which has reached almost all the nations except a few. We are seeing how to make that happen. But almost all the nations, over 170 nations, I think it's already reached the handbook. So this is for India, that we have a policy handbook. Do we have it here, please? Anyway, please, we will show it. Please.
Sadhguru.
Where are you?
Mrs. Sadhguru here. I am Darwin from News 7 Tamil. என்னுடைய கேள்வி என்னன்னா, லார்ஜ்லி நம்ம இப்போ கெமிக்கலைஸ்டு யூஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்க டைம்லையும், இண்டஸ்ட்ரியலைசேஷன் அதிகமாக இருக்கிற டைம்லையும் இந்த மண்வளம் காப்போம் அப்படின்றது எந்த அளவுக்கு சாத்தியமாக இருக்கும்? ரெண்டாவது, இந்தியாவிலையும் நீங்க வெளிநாட்டு பயணங்கள் போகும்போதும் இரண்டு வேறு மக்களிடையே பார்த்த அந்த விழிப்புணர்வுகள் எந்த அளவுக்கு இருந்தது?
இப்போ நீங்க உணவு சாப்பிட்றோம் நாம் ரெண்டு பேரும். அப்படி நல்ல ஒரு வைட்டமின் பில் எடுக்க முடியுமா? ஒன்றும் பிரச்சனை வராதானே? இது அப்படிதான். The question is, when we are doing farming with chemical fertilizers and pesticides and insecticides, to what extent is it really a practical thing to talk about safe soil? So we need to understand this, how fertilizers became what they have become today. In 1918, a German scientist came up with the first nitrogenous fertilizer. When people threw this on the land, it worked like magic. Literally everything burst out. In India, there are many regions where the yields went up by 300%. If you are a farmer and if your yield goes up by 300%, won't you fall in love with this magic powder? That's all that happened. So as this happened, we wanted to plow every inch of the land, so we removed all the plants. And as the work increased, we brought machines. Because the machines came, the animals went out. We must understand the only two sources of organic content on this planet and in the known universe is plant life and animal life. There is simply no other organic content. If you see any farm today, your image of a farm is vast extensive plowed land, only machines moving around, no animals, no plants. That means there is no replenishment. So we are just trying to live on vitamin pills without a meal. I am saying, let's have a meal. If you need vitamin pills, please take it. It's up to you. How much you want to take depends on how rich your food is, isn't it? If your food is very rich, a little bit of addition will take care of you. So this whole idea that farmers like to throw fertilizers in their land is a silly idea nurtured in urban minds, because fertilizers cost a lot of money. No farmer is going to take it and simply throw it out. Right now the soil condition is such, if you do not use a certain quantum of fertilizer, nothing will come out of that farm. Right now the land is in that condition. If the land or the soil quality is improved, naturally the fertilizer usage will start sliding down, and that's how it should happen. You should not make a law, cut down fertilizer to 50%. You will be making a severe mistake, because you will be cutting down food production itself. If any government takes this stance that let us cut down the fertilizer usage, you will be making a very severe mistake because food production will drop. In my opinion, if you take away all fertilizers and other chemicals that are being used in the farming process right now, I think the world's food production could come down to 25% of what it is. That is the worst disaster you could unfold. So it's very important that people don't talk about this, because urban populations have this thing to say, let's do organic farming. They don't know nothing about farming, because farm economy is such a fragile process. If you touch it, it will collapse. It's extremely important. You should be bolstered with incentives and slowly enhance the quality of the soil. And enhancing the quality of the soil is very much possible no matter how much chemical usage is there right now.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. With your permission, I'll sit because the recording is going on. I'm Sulakshna and I represent 92.7 Big FM, the channel which had aired one of the biggest show with you, Dhun Badal Ke To Dekho with Sadhguru. My question is slightly light because we are entertainment with purpose. So, there was a very popular character, Shankaran Pillai, and you talk about him often. Shankaran Pillai wants to ask that as a layman who doesn't have a farm, who doesn't have much knowledge and has supported the Save Soil movement on digital platforms also, but as a layman he wants to support the Save Soil movement. How can he do that? Because he's not into policy making, he's not an authority. What else can be done, Sadhguru?
You are co-opting Mr. Pillai. He's So, what can an ordinary person do? What can a simple citizen in the country do? This is what every citizen in a democratic nation needs to understand. You not only have a vote, you have a voice, which is very important. What is media? It's a voice, isn't it? And it's important. Voice is very important in a democratic nation. Everybody is asking me this question wherever I travel in every country. All that is okay, Sadhguru, can we do something today? Okay, what you want to do is, you want to roll up your sleeves, go home and fix your kitchen garden. No, I will not give you that satisfaction, because you fixing your kitchen garden is very cute, but it is not a solution. We passed that time. If you had asked me this question in 60s, I would have said, yes, fix the kitchen garden, also educate your neighbor to fix his. Not anymore. We've reached 2022, we are at a place, unless there are proper policy changes which will bring about large-scale transformation in the way we farm our lands, is not going to work. We must understand, in the world, 54% of the world's land is seriously farmed, full-time farmed. Another 18 to 20% is part-time farmed. So nearly 71% of the world's land is plowed. 4.2% of the world's land is urban land and it's paved. So this is the problem. 76% of the land is either plowed or paved. So that means there is no photosynthesis. What photosynthesis means is, scientists say approximately 1 billion years ago photosynthesis started in a very minor way and evolved. Photosynthesis means certain plant life learn to cook their food using the perpetual energy of the sun. And before the photosynthesis or the phenomena of photosynthesis started, the oxygen level in the atmosphere was a little over 1%. Today it is 21%. That is why you and me and Mr. Pillai also are breathing. We are all breathing and alive only because of that. Not only breathing and alive, this life itself evolved in its present form, in its present complexity, only because of 21% oxygen content. All complex life happened only because of that. But in the last 1,000 years, we have removed over 85% of photosynthesis from this planet. What is our plan? I know that was a light question. Yes. So this is the soil revitalization policy for India this draft solutions for handbook. We will put this on the website for the media. For the media it will be available. If individual people want to have it, they have to cross a few thresholds, but for the media, this handbook will be available on the website. The soft copy will be there.
सदगुरु जी,
Where are you?
मैं इधर सर, भाई ये आप आज की प्रधानमंत्री से आपकी मुलाकात हुई है और आपको एक काम को प्रधानमंत्री ने काफी सराहा है। आपने भी प्रधानमंत्री से मुलाकात को बताया बहुत अच्छी रही, लेकिन मैं ये जानना चाहता हूँ सर, सरकार के काम को आप कितना सराहते हैं? ये जो मिट्टी बचाओ अभियान या पर्यावरण के लिए जो सरकार का कदम उठा रही है, वो कितने सार्थक है और कब तक हम ये जो पर्यावरण की समस्या से जूझ रहे हैं, इससे निपट पाएंगे?
Can somebody translate that for me, please?
How effective the Indian government has been?
How?
How effective Indian government has been? You made Mr. Modi today about
How effective the government has been in protecting the environment?
See, way ahead of any other nation, any other developed nation, India has done one thing. 22 crore soil health cards have been released. It's still, I would say, it is not a fully engaging process with the farmer, but at least soil health cards are there. That means farmer knows that government is trying to assist you. It's like public health system for individual people. Like there is a public health system, whatever condition it may be in, you may not like it the way it is, but still it is serving the rural community in a big way. It is like PDS, where public distribution system is there. You may not like what is being distributed there once you are reasonably well-to-do, but for the poorest of the poor, the PDS system is a lifeline. So just like that, soil health card is not yet a full-fledged process, but it is being distributed, and a large-scale, infrastructure for soil testing processes is beginning to happen, very large scale. I do not know the numbers, but from whatever I saw, the effort that's going on, it's very large scale. Till now, among the nations that I have traveled, except maybe Germany and France, I don't think anybody else has any mechanism like this.
Hello, I'm Vishwamohan, I'm from Times of India. Sadhguru, yeah? Okay. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So just like when we talk about energy transition in terms of climate change, similarly, when we have to transition to, for example, saving the soil, saving the water, unless and until farmer gets incentives, they won't switch over. So in case of farming, just transition for farming, it is important that the farmers should get incentives. Somebody should handhold farmers for this transition. So what do you think about it, about the incentives which they should get? And it is sure that unless and until they get incentives,
No.
they are not going to change the practice.
It has to be incentive driven, there's no question about that. So let me tell you how it's going on. It's one aspect is, as Vishwamohan, you know that you've been writing about Rally for Rivers, Kaveri calling. What is happening? There's a whole lot of people, once in a way they pop up and ask, oh, what happened to Rally for Rivers? Because it looks like they're like, they come awake once in 3 years and ask this question without following up on anything. Rally for Rivers has become the official recommended policy for all the 28 states in the country. Not all states have been proactive. About 6 states were reasonably proactive, but unfortunately during the pandemic, everybody abandoned everything else and put all their forces behind pandemic management, and once again we have to galvanize that. But because we knew that this could happen in the country, we started manifesting this policy on ground in the form of Kaveri calling. Kaveri calling inspired many things. One important thing is, today in Karnataka, we managed to get a subsidy for the farmer to grow a tree in his land. We have planted over 67 million trees in the farmland by the farmer in his own land. along with other crops. Last 27 years, this work has been going on. Wherever we have done this for more than 8 to 10 years' time, you can see the soil organic content has crossed well over 3%. It is somewhere in the range of 4 to 6% in most places. And the soil, the nutrient level in the produce has gone up significantly. Water tables have come up. Irrigation levels have, the need for water for the crop has gone down significantly. Whenever we raise the organic content to 8 to 10%, the irrigation requirement comes down to 30% of what they were using earlier. 100 liters can become 30 liters for the same crop. And this has been possible on one level initially just by inspiration we did with many farmers. But now in Karnataka there is a subsidy that if a farmer plants a tree, we take a picture of that, we geocode it in collaboration with ISRO, and every tree is geocoded. If it dies, immediately it is reported. And there are youth volunteers who are like LIC agents. They are paid 50 paisa per tree, and year on year they record the growth of this tree. If you take a picture of this tree and put it on the government website, within 24 hours that money goes straight to the farmer. This has inspired millions of farmers to go for it now, and this is definitely one thing is it will enhance the water retention quality of the soil, which will be very wonderful for Kaveri. We must understand in the last 70 years in the Kaveri basin we have removed 84% of the tree cover. In the Ganga basin, which accounts for 25% of India's geography and 33% of India's agriculture, we have removed 92% of tree cover. This is how it's been going. Now in both these regions, tree plantations are going on big time, and based on the success of Kaveri calling, that today UNCCD has recognized Kaveri calling as the largest project of that kind in the world right now, that it is being successfully implemented and well documented, and there is a scientific evidence as to how improvements are happening. Looking at the success of this, the Government of India made 13 detailed project reports for 13 river basins. India is a land where we think in terms of river basins. Kaveri has a river basin of 83,000 square kilometers, 5.2 million farmers living and working there. Now they made detailed project report for 13 river basins. We've been pushing for budgets and action on the ground. When I was somewhere in, I think I was in Bulgaria, when this news came to me that Government of India allocated 19,000 crores for these 13 river basin enhancement projects. So this is how policy moves, but this has taken me 11 years. That day I counted, the day the budget came for these 13 river basins, I had spent a little over 11 years to get to that place. So this is how it works, but at least it's moving forward. These 13 river basins account for 67% of India's land. If we implement these 13 river basin projects as it is envisioned in the next 8 to 12 years' time, 67% of India's land will be above the crest for sure.
हेलो
गुरुजी, मैं न्यूज़ 24 से हूँ। हमारा सवाल है सर कि 30,000 किलोमीटर की आपने यात्रा की, मोटरसाइकिल ही क्यों पसंद रहा आपका? लोग जनरली जो देख रहे हैं आपको वो पूछ रहे हैं कि मोटरसाइकिल से क्यों गुरुजी यात्रा कर रहे हैं। और दूसरा, इससे अगला सवाल है कि सेफ फार्मर को लेकर है। आपने बहुत सारे राज्यों में, अगले 9 राज्यों में आप घूमेंगे, 2 राज्य घूम चुके हैं, 7 राज्य इसमें महाराष्ट्र है, तमिलनाडु है, कर्नाटका है। तो वहाँ फार्मर के लिए दुगनी आय करने के लिए या फिर वहाँ के जो पॉलिटिकल पार्टियों से जब आप मिले, तो क्या किसानों को कैसे मदद हो? क्योंकि प्रोडक्टिविटी बढ़ाने के लिए जो 3 to 6% आप कह रहे हैं कि ऑर्गेनिक मिट्टी में उपजाऊ चीज़ बढ़ेगी, तो इसको लेकर क्या आपने सलाह दिया और उनकी तरफ से क्या वो चीज़ें हैं? और क्योंकि हाल के दिनों में हम लोगों ने देखा कि टर्की से गेहूं की उपज वापस कर दी गई क्योंकि उनकी क्वालिटी ख़राब थी, बैड क्वालिटी थी। तो क्या फार्मर को सेव करने के लिए क्या कोई एडवाइस या जो पॉलिटिकल पार्टियों ने आपसे बात की हो? ये 2 सवाल।
What did Turkey return? I'm sorry, what was that?
The wheat was returned from
Wheat was
Turkey
returned,
because
no.
it was not of good quality.
Okay. So, right now, see how to enhance the organic quality of the soil. There are many ways to do it. There are dozens of ways to do it, or there are 100 different ways to do it. Are we going to go and tell the farmer all those 100 ways? No, this is why state governments become important. Looking at the soil type in a certain region, they could be advised. This knowledge is not new. Every agriculture university knows what to do. As I was saying today morning in the event, wherever I went in the agriculture ministries across the world, everybody knows what is the problem, everybody knows what is the solution. But they've been waiting for an idiot to come and bell the cat. So, as I don't hold any office, I am not a minister, I am not a bureaucrat, I don't wear any uniform of that kind to give me some authority. I am a man without any authority over anything. It is only that in these many decades of activity, we have earned a certain amount of love and respect from people. That's about all it is. So what I saw was last 30 years I've been talking about it and talking about it. Everybody says, Sadhguru, this is wonderful, what you're saying is great, and they go to sleep. So I knew I had to do something. As I have no instruments of power in my hand, the only way I can do something is put my life to risk. And this is what I did. Now suddenly they all woke up and 2.5 billion people have responded in a little over 2 months now, 75 days. So, you're asking why motorcycle, but it has worked, isn't it, the motorcycle? If I flew around in a plane, it wouldn't work, I know that very well. If I drove a car across the world, it wouldn't work. You want me to walk? That would kill me. So I choose an option. Do you want me to cycle? That could also kill me. So I chose an option which is dangerous, but not sure death.
Okay, I think we are kind of running out of time. Can we have one last question?
ಹಲೋ ಸದ್ಗುರು ಅವರೇ, ಈ ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಬ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನು ಕೈಗೊಂಡಿತ್ತು. ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ದಿನಬಳಕೆಗೆ ಅಂಗಡಿ ಮುಂಗಡುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಬ್ಯಾಗ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಬ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಆರಂಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಶಾಪ್ ಓನರ್ಸ್ಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಹೆದರಿದ್ರು ಅದನ್ನು ಬಳಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. ಬಟ್ ದಿನ ಕಳೆದಂತೆ ಈಗ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಂಗಡಿಗಳಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಹೇರಳವಾಗಿ ಬಳಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ. ನಾನು ಯಾಕೆ ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಈಗ ಸೇವ್ ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ನ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಕೂಡ ಮಣ್ಣನ್ನು ಉಳಿಸೋದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಣ್ಣಿನ ಫಲವತ್ತತೆಯನ್ನ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಸೋದು. ಮಣ್ಣಿನ ಫಲವತ್ತತೆಯನ್ನ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಬಳಕೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗೆ ದೆಹಲಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು, ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕಡೆ ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಬಿದ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೆ. ಹೇಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನ
See, this is a major problem in the world. If plastic bags are floating around in New Delhi, do not think this is an ecological problem. This is a civic issue. This is the irresponsibility of the citizens who live in this city. You are making that into an ecological issue. Please don't do that, because this is the problem in the entire world. Everybody wants to make small issues big. No, it's important that we understand soil is not like plastic bag floating around. And even after the government has passed the law, every day how to come and enforce? Shall we have plastic police for this separately? How is this possible? The idea of promulgating a law was initially to enforce with the traders so that people will become aware and refuse to use such products. If people don't take it up, government can pass any number of laws and it won't help. But do not compare that to save soil, because save soil is an economic activity also. Here incentives will work and it's of a different nature. I think we're not understanding the issue of plastic bags floating around and soil degeneration. These are two different things and of a different scale and nature and of a different level of threat to life on the planet. So, soil as a issue has to be separated from other aspects. This is what I said in the beginning. You must separate soil from other environmental issues, because with the other environmental issues there are many problems. Now there is a plastic industry, plastic bag making industry, who don't want to follow that. But there is nobody who does not want rich soil. So when there is an item like that, we must keep it away from all other issues which are contentious, which has conflicting ideas and opinions and conflicting economic interests. Here there is no such thing. It is just a certain amount of determination from the government and a certain amount of investment in the form of incentives. These incentives, let me articulate this, what we have formulated in a very simple way. First level of incentive is, government has to offer an incentive. Right now, on an average in India, most lands have below 1%. Nearly 62% of the land has below 0.5%, which is almost desertification. Now, if you offer an incentive, if you get your land to 3% organic content, we will give you this, that must be substantial enough to make it attractive. So the best way to go, in my opinion, would be, it's for the government's prerogative how they form the policies. 47.3% of the land in the country is farmed by small and medium farmers. Giving incentives to them is easy to do, because what is 100 rupees for a small farmer may be 10 rupees for a big farmer in his perception. So it's best to go for small and medium farmers. With small incentives, you can push that community, which is a very large community. Nearly 87 to 88% of farmers are actually small and medium, but they are farming only 47.3% of the land in the country. So if you push this, nearly 50% of the land will start happening. For the big farmers, the incentives could be worked out differently. It could be structured differently. It's not for me to articulate that, because there is a finance ministry and there are other ministries which will do this. But I feel for small and medium farmers, how you articulate the incentive and how you articulate the incentive for the larger farmers should be different for it to work. All of them coming under the same umbrella may lead to unfair way of treating people. So the next level is, if somebody gets it to 3%, they will get that incentive that could be divided year by year, or it could be the end of the achievement. I feel year by year is good, but still that's government's prerogative. The next thing is, there is something called as carbon credit. Last 7 years we've been toiling to break this, to crack the carbon credit system for the farmer. We have failed miserably. We just can't do it. It looks like a maze which is not leading us anywhere. Endless number of applications, endless number of filling this form, that form, not going anywhere. Because I feel right now, I begin to understand, I'm not an expert on this, and I feel this is designed for industry. The same thing is being put on the farmer, and no way he can fulfill these conditions. So we are requesting the Prime Minister to formulate a carbon credit system which will suit the farmer. Once he gets it to 3%, the amount of carbon he is sequestering is quite significant. And if that calculation is made differently, then how you would measure smoke coming out of a chimney is very different from what the plowed land is doing and the organically rich land is doing, are two reverse things. If that, some kind of a thumb rule is developed and he gets the carbon credit, so that will be the second level of incentive. The third level of incentive is, right now if you go to the marketplace, they say this mango is organic. What is this one? Is it inorganic? Is there something like that? So I am saying organic has just become a marketing name. Nobody has to fulfill any particular requirement in that. Instead of that, if you say this mango comes from a field which has 3% organic content, there is enough science to tell us what are the micronutrients extra present in this mango, what are the health benefits, what are the preventive health benefits, what is the lowering of stress that happens to the healthcare system in the country, healthier people, how productive they will become, how creative they will be. There are many, many benefits for the nation. All the data is there, we just have to collate it. So I am saying the market should recognize that. So if my mango comes from 6% organic content, it must sit on a higher shelf. You pay more, but instead of eating 6 mangoes, you can eat 1 mango and you have the same nourishment. So 3 levels of incentives. The details and how it is implemented in each nation has to be worked out by the governments. First thing is the incentive, next thing is the carbon credit system, because every company in the world has committed to zero carbon footprint. So they have money. They have money, they don't know where to spend. So this has to come to the farmer. It can be easily directed in the direction, and also in the marketplace, the shelf that a farmer sits upon or the produce sits upon must be different. Then this wheat would not come back from Turkey.
One last question.
Hello, Sadhguru ji.
Where are you?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
కొత్త టెక్నాలజీస్ వస్తున్న టైంలో ఇప్పుడు హైడ్రోపోనిక్స్ అనే కొత్త టెక్నాలజీ వచ్చింది. కేవలం మట్టి లేకుండా పంటలు పండించేటువంటి విధానం కొత్తగా వస్తుంది. సో ఈ నేపథ్యంలో మీరు మట్టిని కాపాడుకుందామని చెప్పి మూవ్మెంట్ స్టార్ట్ చేశారు. వివిధ దేశాల్లో ఇప్పటికీ చాలా కంట్రీస్ లో ఇది ఇంప్లిమెంట్ అవుతుంది, పంటలు పండిస్తున్నారు, దాని నుంచి అనేక రిజల్ట్స్ వస్తున్నాయి. ఆ మూవ్మెంట్ లో మట్టిని కాపాడుకుందాం అనే మూవ్మెంట్ ఏ విధంగా సక్సెస్ అవుతుంది అనుకుంటున్నారు?
Let me tell you a story. This happened in 2016. Certain number of scientists sought appointment with God. And they got it and they went there. They went and told God, hey old man, you've done pretty well with creation, but everything that you can do, we can also do. God said, oh, is that so? What is it that you can do? They dug up a little bit of soil, made a vague image of a human child, they did all kinds of stuff, and the child came alive. God said, that's very impressive, but first get your own soil. I want you to understand, sir, every nutrient, whether it's a microbe or a worm or an insect or a leaf or a tree or a bird or a man or a woman or an animal, or even the nutrients that they're injecting into the water comes from the soil. There is no substitute for soil. Do not misunderstand these technologies. Thank you very much.
Tosh, Power TV, Karnataka.
Good evening, Sadhguruji. My name is Tirupati. You have taken a spectacular movement about soil save. But what is my question? You are saying cultivation, soil and food grain also. But if we go our rural areas and village areas, there is no land. Every day lakhs of agricultural land becoming into a ventures. After that ventures becoming concrete jungle. So how could you see this particular problem? And same time our simultaneously our government also saying this is development. So what do you think about this? And same time it is good for our future generation. What do you think about this, please?
Well, there are multiple problems, sir, but I want you to understand this, that in the world, as I already said, 71% of the world's land is under farming. 4.2% of the land is urban. Yes, urban areas are slowly increasing, but you cannot take away 50% of the earth's land tomorrow morning for urban development. Such a thing will not happen, all right, because it's simply not practical. So urban development or building of homes are happening because you have 1.3 billion people, and nearly half the people, or at least 35 to 40% of the people, are just living in small shacks. Only now they're getting a home to live in. So you don't want them to have a home, they must have a home. So one thing we can do, which also is a proposal we are pushing with both Tamil Nadu and Karnataka governments, let's see who takes it up first, is we are promoting what is called as, I am part of the Future Cities, there is an organization called Future Cities. So this is a proposal I have given to governments and to certain organizations. See, right now if you get out on the streets of Delhi during the peak hours, both sides of the traffic is busy. What does this mean? People who live there work here. People who live here work there. What's our problem? Why can't we work and live in one place? Simply because unplanned developments have happened. So one simple thing you do is another thing for which we will pay a very huge price is, I don't know, Tirupati, where you come from?
From Telangana.
Telangana, Hyderabad. Hyderabad is a little better off, but in Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai, if you step out of the house, you will be straight into the traffic for most children. Children, if they walk out of their homes, they're straight into the traffic place. When children grow up like this, in another 15-20 years, you will see the number of psychological problems that you will see in this country will be unmanageable. It's extremely important. A child can play, can jump, can climb a tree, can fall down. It doesn't matter even if he breaks something. It's important a child goes through all these things. None of these things are there simply because urban cities have become like this. So we are looking at, you can move away from the city, and we are encouraging some of the companies to go for this first. If you buy 50 acres of land away, you can get land at 10% of the price, and in 50 acres you build only 1 acre. You can go 50 floors or 100 floors, anyway there's 2 FSI. Offices, residences, a little bit of shopping, a school up to 5th standard, and theatre, everything can be housed in this. That means For 5 to 6 days in a week, you don't even have to step out. Remaining 49 acres, you convert it into forest. If you want to do a little bit of farming, a part of it you can farm, your own regenerative farming you can do. You will live healthy lives, children will grow up well. This is very important because we must understand this. In the name of economy, in the name of development, we should not forget human beings. All these things are being done for human beings. But simply saying stop the development is not going to work because you have moved to the city, you are living in a reasonably comfortable home. In the village now they want to build. If the rural economy improves, which it must, it's my intent that a farmer should earn as much as a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer or an IT professional. Only then people will live on the land. Otherwise, in another 25 to 30 years, nobody will be doing any farming. We've done some kind of a vague survey. What I find is, not even 2% of the farmers want their children to become farmers. If this has to change, it is not teaching, it is not philosophy. What is needed is, the farming has to become lucrative. The farming should be an attractive proposition in economic terms for the next generation. Only then people will stay there and there will be farming in this country. We must understand we may live here without anything else, but not without food for sure. Thank you very much.
10 more minutes. Do you want to take 2 more questions?
Okay, come up.
We'll take 2 more questions.
Hello, Santosh, Power TV. Sadhguru,